Well, hey everyone. Welcome to another Thursday Night Live. How are you guys? I'm a couple minutes late tonight, but it's not me. I was giving everyone a chance to get here. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Um, that and me just being an old man. All right. So if you're new, we do this every Thursday night in addition to the get my camera adjusted there. In addition to the Sunday show, which is the main podcast every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I read live horror every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then on Thursday nights, it's just sort of this late night with Mike, late night with Lovecraft Easing. So let's see who we have here. We have Chaz. Hey, Chaz. Um, we have Alan. We have Marianne, Brian. Make sure I don't miss anyone who's said anything yet. Darren. Hey, Darren. Kim. Kim Smeltzer. We were just talking about you today. And hey, Jakester. Uh, Kim took my mom to the doctor today, and while we were waiting in the waiting room, I had my Kindle out and showed her a new book that I had gotten on Kindle Unlimited, and she said that she had bought one of your vampire books. So I think she's gonna try and message you on Facebook and let you know, but I thought I'd let you know since you're here. So yeah, I told her you'd like that. You deny everything. You deny you wrote the book. I if she told me the title, I don't remember which it was. Sorry, but yes, she's reading one of your books. So I think she's still in the middle of it, Kim. So, and then we have Mr. Alan Hughes, my friend and co-panelist, who just got back from Europe. And apparently you're still a little jet lagged. Is that right, Alan? So, um, glad you're back. Alan and several of us recorded a Patreon podcast a couple of days ago, another entry in our H.P. Lovecraft story discussions. We talked about The Shadow Out of Time, which is one of my favorites. And I also have some really cool deep background episodes coming up for Patreons. Um, Brian Evanson is the next one, should be. We're putting our schedules together, but sometime in the next few days or sometime next week, I'll be recording that. So that'll be really interesting. And I have a deep background recording um, scheduled with Paul Tremblay, and that's going to be interesting too. I can't wait for him to recount the time that he was laid up as a young man, and he started reading it, and it scared him so much apparently that he threw it across the room. So, and now he's friends with King. So, I need to ask, have you ever told King that story? Because that'd be funny. I tried a little. Um, oh, Victor Lavelle is coming up soon too. Sometime in June is when we're going to record it. That's all I know right now. I'm waiting on an email back from him. I tried a little something new in the side chat. What are a couple of your favorite horror novels? It looks like it's at the very top of the side chat. So it's an experiment. I don't know how it works. So just just curious. Yeah, Victor is not only, well, you know what? Victor, Brian, Paul, these are three guys who are not only immensely, and I mean immensely talented, but they are also really nice guys. And I have no doubt that these episodes are going to be really, really interesting. Is my sound and everything okay? Good tonight, guys? Um, and for those of you who are not familiar, I do a lot of, I do a ton of Patreon only podcasts for the Patreons, and that starts right at the bottom tier at just $5 a month. You get, I'm not trying to sound like a used car salesman, but you get a hell of a lot for just $5 a month. Anyway, one of the interview series that I do on the Patreon is called Deep Background, for those of you who aren't familiar. And it's about not just the ears, Eli. That's funny. If your ears are bleeding, then it's good. Um, Not so much about the work, because that's most of the regular podcast interviews, right? But it's more about who is this person? How did they become the artist, creator, writer that they are today? Why did they make those choices? How did they grow up? Um, you know, all that stuff. You know, looking at them not so much as, oh, this is a writer, this is a creator, which is great, but who is this person as a human being? So, if that makes sense. Um, Chaz says Gemophile's experimental film and Langan's The Fisherman. Well, I cannot disagree with either one of those at all. Um, and I realize these deep background episodes coming up are all males. That just sort of happened, but I have plenty in the past episodes, female deep background interviews, and more coming. So just want to make that clear. Dave is working in the yard. So remember, if you're a Patreon too at the $10 and up level, we're doing a hangout like we always do tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. And that's just us, you, the patrons, and the panelists on Zoom, just having a good time talking about whatever we feel like talking about. It's not broadcast or recorded, so it's just a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I'm sure Gemma would say yes. Chaz, let me grab my pen here, um, so that I remember to email her tonight or tomorrow. Gemma Files DB, deep background. Yes. Darren, unless you've been a Patreon for like 7 years, it's natural to be behind. And I'm in the middle right now of retooling the Patreon. Right now on the main page, well, on one of the main pages when you join, um, I give kind of a, I wouldn't call it a best of, but maybe a place to start for people who don't know where to start. Um, so I'm going to redo that too. And hopefully that will help too. But it's kind of like being behind on whatever. Name your favorite TV show, you know. Uh, and it just means that you have a lot of entertainment in front of you, right? So it's a good problem to have, right? So so there you go. That's the way I look at it anyway. So Alan says the Keep and the Sea of Ash. Well, I'll tell you, I can't disagree with either one of those either. I reread the Keep for the third time, uh, about a year ago, something like that, and it's great on Audible too. And you can start with the Keep, and you can move into the Repairman Jack series from there. But something interesting to Google when it comes to F. Paul Wilson, is Google F. Paul Wilson's Secret History of the World. And he's got that on his website. And that will suck you in. You'll immediately have to start reading all of his stuff. Yeah. So just Google, search for F. Paul Wilson, Secret History of the World. So right there, I've right there, if you take my advice on that, you've got reading for like the next 6 months if you read every day. So, but definitely start with the Keep. I think the Keep is it is just absolutely amazing. You think it's going one way, right, Alan? And you find out that it's not. I don't want to give anything away, but I'll just say that. Um, Thanks for the link, Alan. So, speaking of, well, we weren't speaking of movies, but Sinners is on streaming right now. Still expensive, but if you missed it in the theater, you can watch it. Did I miss saying hi to anyone? Dave, Jakester, Kim? Um, yeah, I've read The Fisherman several times. Oh, you're going to buy the Keep DVD? Paul can't stand it, but I think if you look at it as its own thing, and then it's a really great watch. Um, and that music by Tangerine Dream, right? So, oh, you're playing on the DVD of Sinners. Sorry. I do like the Keep movie though, too. Like I said, Paul is not a fan. Um, let's see here. What do I want to talk about? What do we want to talk about? And by the way, guys, if you ever have something you want me to talk about on Thursday nights or on Sundays, but Thursdays are more, I don't know, intimate, more open as far as the topics. Feel free to email me or just comment below this video. Um, if you do it in the side chat, I may not see it. I may, but definitely if you comment below later or now, whatever, then I will be happy to take your suggestions. And if there are books you want us to talk about on Sundays, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, thanks for spending part of your Thursday evening with me. I hope for many of you that means that you have one day of work left and then the weekend, although I realize that may not be the case for everyone. If you're not on the email alert list to remind you about these episodes, um, that's easy to do. The link is in the show notes. And you're going to get 2 or 3 emails a week, and that is it, I promise. All they are is just, hey, remember we're having a podcast tonight, or things like that. So Sunday, my guest is going to be Ian Rogers, another really talented, really nice guy. Uh, Chaz, that's an excellent suggestion to do a deep background on Emma. Then Livia Llewellyn, Nadia Bolkin, of course, um, Laird, and I did Ramsey Campbell, as just so many others. Um, JBL says Fellstones, Ramsey's Fellstones, and Richard Matheson's Hell House. It's been way too long since I have read Hell House. I did get it cheap on Audible once, but I haven't listened to it yet. Oh, that's cool, Kim. Yeah, you guys can do that too. I have, I need to be careful about this because my wife said to me, there's a package on the front porch today, and handed it to me, and I have not had a chance to open it yet. Let's see, who is this from? Chaz. Should I have the bomb squad check this out first, Chaz? Thank you for whatever it is. Seriously. Scott Scott gave me one of my patrons gave me a gift certificate for Amazon, and thank you. It's a Cuban sandwich. Are you serious? That's awesome. That's awesome. JBL says Hell House is great, and the movie did it justice too. Ghostbusters without any comedy. I've not seen the movie. I'm writing this down, JBL. Excuse me a second, guys. Now, if it's cool with you guys, this coming Tuesday, I'll read one more story out of The Price of Fear, unless you guys are getting sick of them. I think they're great, and I've read two so far. Read Lot 132, and I read The Waxwork. Doing okay, Monty? Good boy. Good boy. All right. How could you get sick of Vincent Price? You can't. I listened to a couple, re-listened. Well, one I'd not. Anyway, listened to a couple in bed the other night when Danielle and I went to bed, and she liked them. So, um, The Price of Fear. It's an audio drama, JBL, and um, last the last couple of Tuesdays, I think the first Tuesday that I talked about this, I gave a little list of my favorite Price of Fear audio dramas. But the short version is the ones, and I think it's like 2/3 at least, the ones where Vincent Price plays a fictional version of himself, JBL, those are the ones you definitely want to start with. Um, just off the top of my head, without the list in front of me, Waxwork is actually a favorite. It's it's quite creepy, and Fish is another one. Um, Lot 132, and so on. So, The Price of Fear, brought to you by Vincent Price. All right, Hell House movie. Think you guys see? You guys give me recommendations too. So, um, I love you guys. I tried this as an experiment. Gosh, what's it been? A year ago, and now we're at episode 47. Can you believe that? of the Thursday episodes. So I guess you guys like it, right? Yes, it is. It is, JBL. And I actually read that 2 Tuesdays ago. If you want to listen to my reading, and I hope I did a. Here it is. It's from this book is, do that right, is was published in 1976, and it's some of the original stories that they adapted the show from. You know what I mean? And it's got a, if you can find this online, it's got a introduction by Vincent Price as well, where he talks about audio drama being his favorite form of entertainment. Um, he did everything. He did it all. Uh, about 10 million movies, but he said he enjoyed doing audio dramas the most. So you can listen to me read that, and but I will, I would definitely say that Waxwork on The Price of Fear. If you've never heard any of the Price of Fear episodes, you should start with Waxwork. I really liked it. And all right, so Chaz, I will open this later tonight. Thank you so much for this, whatever it is. Um, I appreciate it. All right, speaking of Mr. Chaz, he sent me a movie trailer for a film that he and Chaz is an actor, for those of you who don't know, and writer, and uh, have you directed? I don't remember, Chaz. And anyway, he's multi-talented, but there is a movie that's on the circuit right now, or soon to be on the circuit, if I understand correctly, called Bella, and he gave us the trailer and the link to the trailer on YouTube, and there it is. I put it in the side chat for you. Uh, guys, watch that later. I watched it twice. It looks. I can't wait to see the whole movie. It looks like a very touching, real film. If you know what I mean, you'll know what I mean when you watch the trailer. I watched it twice. I saw our friend Chaz in a couple of quick scenes in the trailer also. So, oh, it won Best Drama this week. When do I get to see it? Congratulations, buddy. As much as anybody can tell from a movie trailer, it looks like it deserves the win for sure. Um, Congratulations. Um, and Chaz also helped me with an interview with Reggie Oliver a couple of weeks ago. Really, really great interview. Um, as I think most of you know, it's been a little stressful here at the Davis house, and it's calming down. But so as a result, I got a little behind in after I do the Sunday show, a few days later, I take the audio and I put it on Spotify, Apple, all those places, where you stream podcasts. And so I'm a little bit behind, then I'm catching up. But this morning I put up the Reggie Oliver one. So anyone wants to listen to that and you don't want to look at our faces, you can, or you want to listen on the go, like when you're working in the yard or driving or whatever. Just go to Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts, and it should be the latest one. Anyway, Chaz, congratulations. I'm very proud of you. We're all very proud of you, buddy. I mean that. So. So be sure and check out Chaz's movie trailer later on, guys. Um, I want to talk a little bit about some choices I've made recently, and they're not judgments. In other words, this is what is best for me. And if it's not what's best for you, it's not me saying, wow, guys, I've got it all figured out and you really should be doing what I'm doing. It's not like that at all. But I'm just a person that I love simplicity. I don't like clutter, whether it's mental clutter or physical clutter, clutter in my email, but especially mental clutter. And if you've read Walden, then that's a good shortcut. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Walden says, or Thoreau says, simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Um, Darren had me talking about Walden several Tuesdays ago, and I quoted some of my favorite quotes. So you can always go back and check that out. I think I I think I titled that one "The Horror of Real Living" or something like that. So that's how you find it. But I just I'm not going anywhere at all, as you can see. I'm going to be always doing the podcast, all three of them, the Patreon podcasts, all the different things I do on Patreon, the Lovecraft Easing website blog posts, my Substack blog posts. Um, and you can find all of those in the show notes. Okay. And you can find all of my important links, I guess you'd say, if you go to michaeldyllandavis.com. michaeldyllandavis.com. Um, Alan, would you mind typing that in there? I'd appreciate it, buddy, if you're able, if you're still near your computer. Um, but those are more things that where I'm broadcasting. Thank you, Alan. I'm writing an article or I'm doing a podcast. I've I've been on Facebook for a very long time, but I I've never been, especially in the last few years, not one to, you know, doom scroll or scroll too much at all, really. Um, and I don't want to look at my life as when something happens, oh, good, that's going to get me some traffic on Blue Sky or whatever, or on Facebook. I don't mean that I'm not going to post a picture of the kittens on the blog or somewhere or on the YouTube posts, um, because I think it's cute. But it's just the most of the social media I'll be doing will be in relation to Lovecraft Easing, and I don't have a phone number right now by choice. I have a phone, um, but I'm using it more as a device than anything else. Thank you, Alan. JBL says, speaking of movie trailers, here's a Lovecraftian detective movie that I had a slight hand in, did some art for it. Yeah, give us the link, JBL. Um, Also, there's a new Lovecraftian, not to get sidetracked, but a new Lovecraftian audio drama series that I don't have in front of me at the moment, um, called well, crap, the Eldritch something or other. Let me see if I can find that for you guys because Otherwise, let's see here. Click, click, click. This is what you get on Thursday nights. You get to listen to me talk, and then you get to listen to me look for something, or not listen to me look for something. Let's see if I can find it before Alan does. There we go. Um, it's on YouTube, and it's also on Spotify and all that. Did you find it before me, Alan? Is that what that is? It's called the Eldritch Episodes. Um, okay. Here's the channel. So we'll call it a tie, Alan. But you're probably only because you're probably still suffering from jet lag. Um, anyway, I sent that to my Patreons earlier, and everyone who's commented so far said, "Yeah, this is quality stuff. You know, you gotta give them a helping hand, help them promote it." So if you're looking for something to listen to, um, check it out. Yeah, only because you're jet lagged, Alan. Only because you're jet lagged. Otherwise, I think your brain works faster than mine, buddy. All right, so back to my choices about social media. Um, I seriously doubt that's going to change, but I also want to make it very clear that I'm not going anywhere. It's just that personal social media is not going to be a thing for me anymore. I deleted my Facebook account, deleted my freaking phone number for Pete's sake. There, I just, I'm always available via email to anyone. Please feel free to email me. That's in the show notes as well. It's at michaeldylandavis.com as well. And I'll always do my best to answer. But um, that's my only real point of contact from now on. Of course, if you post a comment in one of these videos, of course I'll see it and respond. I don't mean that, but that's just a personal choice. I need quiet. I've been dealing with some depression issues more than usual for the last couple of months, and this is just something that I needed. I love peace and quiet. There's a time that I remember. Um, it was right after I got sick. So this is somewhere around 2008. We got it sort of figured out, and then Danielle was looking after her mom. Logan was maybe 2 years old, something like that. And so she was in Illinois for a couple of months. I was at home, and then every day I was a realtor at the time. Every day I would go in and, do my real estate job. I was self-employed then too. Um, Probably doesn't need saying, but I was never much of a salesman. It was more of a, to me, it was more of a, if you want to buy a house, I'm here to give you the best advice I can, that kind of thing. Anyway, I would do that job, and then I would come home, and I was just watching, I had just discovered Angel at the time, Angel, the TV series. And so every night I would come home. I didn't own it yet, so this brings back memories. I would get the DVDs from in the mail from Netflix, right? And I had a finished basement, fireplace, and I would comfortable couch. Remember back then I actually had a little money. Big TV, very comfortable couch. and nobody knew I was home. Nobody could get a hold of me. Um, I did have a cell phone for work at the time. I mean, as a realtor, even back then, it was kind of unwise not to have one. But I would turn it off for a while because first of all, I was recovering. So I would go home. I would watch Angel, read a little bit, but I was basically binging Angel. And I've had other peaceful times like that in my life. Like right now it's peaceful. It's getting more peaceful. But nobody could get a hold of me. If somebody emailed me, I just emailed them back the next day. There was no texting to me, there was no, oh, I texted Mike 30 minutes ago. How come he hasn't gotten back to me yet? In other words, it was quiet and exactly the kind of atmosphere that I've always needed. I'm not too hard to please. Give me some books to read and some peace and quiet and a TV show that I like to binge or binge again, and I'm at a job that I love, which I have now too, and I'm pretty happy. And none of this has to do with the fact that Danielle was and Logan were out of town because I miss them immensely, and I mean that. Um, but even when she got back, I would still be doing the same thing. We would spend time together, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go binge a couple of episodes of Angel, that kind of thing. But I guess in our modern world, there's just so much hurry. There's so much instant communication, and you know, everyone expects, not everyone, but so many people expect instant responses when they communicate with you, whether it's a text or an email or a phone call or whatever. And I can't be that way. I just can't. And none of this is to say if you guys email me, I'm not going to email you back. Of course I will. You guys know that, I think. But it might take me a day, or it might take me an hour. It just depends on the day. My point is this. I don't know if I'm making this point very well, but that's a really great example of a peaceful time in my life. And it's something that I always want to you don't just learn lessons in life. You learn them and you relearn them. You teach them to yourself again, right? And sometimes you say, "Hey, I've kind of forgotten about this, or I've let this go. I need to do better." Um, whether it's exercise or whether it's something like this or whatever. Um, Luckily, fortunately, um, we don't have to move. I get to keep my book house. Very, very grateful for that. And I just keep um, dressing it up and organizing it, and I love it. And I just sort of think of it as my bat cave. Um, so that's the reason why I shut off my Facebook, shut off my phone. None of it has anything to do with anyone who has my phone number. Believe me, it does not. Um, but yeah, and maybe maybe you're not as extreme as I am, but maybe there's if you do feel stress and harried and and living in this modern world this way, then think about it a little bit. The other part of all this, of course, the stress of the modern world is I think people see seem to feel this obligation to keep up on the news all the time. Like scroll through the news. Oh, I haven't checked the news in an hour on my phone. Things like that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. I mean, if it makes you happy, sure. Um, but it doesn't make me happy. I'll tell you where I get my news. I do get my news, but I get it from my wife. She'll be like, "Oh, this happened." I'm like, "Oh, really? That's interesting." So, am I boring you guys? I'm sorry if I am, but that's what's going on. And I wanted to make it clear that that's all it's about. It's not about anyone who has my phone number or who emails me or anything like that. So, um, what else did I want to talk about? That might have been. Geez, I just blew through 45 minutes with that. It's like an old man talking about, now this is what you need to, okay, now, if you young people knew what I know, then, you know. Kim, would you please uh, put a link to your books in the side chat so that others can buy, since I mentioned it, my mom reading your book earlier. Um, and Chaz, will you please let us know, whatever. I mean, I guess it'll be a year or so. I don't know how this works, but until we can see your movie, Bella, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. And um, so, yeah. Felix, I remember when I was a kid in Des Moines. Well, I'm so old that I remember when I delivered the paper, I would deliver it next to the milk carton. Well, to the milk, where they put the milk. At that aside, the Des Moines Register still exists, but back then it was the Des Moines Register and Tribune. So the Des Moines Register was the morning paper, and the Des Moines Tribune was the evening paper. So think about that. It just seems so strange now, doesn't it? Um, yeah, that's how you got your news. That and film at 11, right? Um, okay. Anyone else want to mention favorite horror books or what they're reading right now that we should know about? I will say, I feel very, like I said, I've been dealing with depression, as I know many of you do. Okay, I'm not the only person in the world. Um, I've been, I for a long time I've dealt with chronic pain, quite a lot of it, but I still feel really, really lucky. I picked up a prescription today. Oh, Jeff is great. Jeffrey Ford. Oh yeah, read Jeffrey Ford. That's for damn sure. Uh, yeah, good call, Brian. And I saw this cute little Woodstock. Um, I guess not doll, but stuffed Woodstock. Really cute. And I bought it for Danielle. And the lady that rang me up, I said, "Oh, you'll score a couple of points with your wife for that." And I just laughed and I said, "Well, I don't really think about scoring points. I just really love to see her smile." And then on the drive home, it made me think of how fortunate I am. Um, I'm the guy who's been married for almost 30 years, and making my wife happy is still the most important thing in the world to me. And I'm lucky. Of course, marriage also takes hard work. But I'm wondering, um, w- what is it in your life that you're thankful for, that you feel lucky about? And I'm not trying to sound like Tony Robbins here, but I learned something a long time ago that the type of questions that you ask yourself are so important. And whatever question you ask your brain is going to try and give you an answer. So let's say you say to yourself, you ask yourself, why why does all this crap keep happening to me? Um, your brain's going to come up with an answer like, well, maybe you deserve it. You don't, but that might be the answer that your brain comes up with. Or here's another one. How come nothing ever works out right for me? Your brain will come up with an answer. So if you want better answers, then you have to come up with better questions. And one of those questions can be as cliche as it sounds, is what do I feel lucky about? You know, um, what's most important in my life? Um, what if there's Here's a good question. If there's one thing that I really want to accomplish before I die, um, what would that be? And keep asking yourself that. Maybe you don't know the answer right away. Maybe you don't. But if you keep asking yourself, you'll come up with an answer. And I'll tell you one thing about depression is one of the many different things that help with depression is having a purpose, a goal that means a lot to you, not just some arbitrary goal, but a goal that means a lot to you. Um, so I'm sorry, I did not know I was really going to talk about any of this, and I do hope that I didn't come off sounding like Tony Robbins or somebody. But when I got out of the cult, I was very, very, very unhappy, and I had I had to I thought the answers to happiness have to be out there somewhere. They have to be. And I've always been a reader. So the thought that hit my 17, 18-year-old mind was, okay, the answers have got to be in a book somewhere, in books. And so I would buy books and read them and on happiness or on success or you name it. And some books were great. And I wrote down a lot of thoughts and ideas. Other books, there'd be 20 chapters and one good idea in the whole thing. But, slowly I just sort of built up all these mental tools. And that's one of them. The right asking yourself the right questions is something to remember. Um, anyway, Ben Handelman told me that don't worry what I talk about on Thursday nights. I can just read my grocery list if I wanted to. That it was just nice for everyone to get together on Thursday nights in a more informal setting than the Sunday podcast. I don't know that I agree with reading my grocery list. I don't think I'm that interesting. But I get on here and I just start talking, and I hope that it connects with some of you guys. So, Marianne says, created a goal this morning and is feasible selling my house and building one in April. Our sewers collapsed and more issues in town. They called the EPA to file a complaint against the sewers. Yeah, You emailed me a little bit about that, Marianne. It sounds freaking stressful as hell. Wow. I mean, when you can't use water, right? You have to go somewhere else to even turn on a faucet. That's pretty stressful. And I hope it gets better soon for you. I've got some more things to talk about, but I don't want to keep you guys too late. Gosh, I remember in Des Moines the 1993 flood. You can Google this, but it was pretty awful. And just about the whole town flooded. And one of the things that happened was that, uh, again, I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but if I remember right, it flooded the waterworks. I think that's what happened. But the end result was that, ironically, with all of this rain, all of this flooding everywhere, um, we didn't have water for several weeks. Um, it's really weird when you turn on the faucet and nothing happens, and you go to your neighbors and turn on the faucet and nothing happens. And we were getting our water from uh, um, government trucks in the Hy-Vee parking lots. I get so sick of taking a bath in front of the sink with water that I um, had gotten from them, that I went to Lowe's or Walmart or some such place, and I got one of those 3 gallon containers with the weed, where you spray the weed killer on on your lawn, and I put water in it and got in the bath and would squirt it over my head and take a make believe shower that way. So anyway, I'm sorry to hear that you're going through this, Suzanne. I hope it gets better soon, but yeah, believe me, I know it's stressful. Please comment below if there's something you'd like for me to talk about next Thursday. And if you're a Patreon, please let me know if there are any particular questions that you'd like me to ask Victor or Brian Evanson or Paul Tremblay on the Deep Background series. And again, if you're a patron, you can expect the Shadow Out of Time discussion probably be online on the Patreon tomorrow. So anyway, guys, thank you for spending part of your Thursday with me. Um, sorry, Darren, but yes, I will write down astronomy for next time, because I do love talking about astronomy. Um, so you can look forward to that. I promise you, buddy. And actually, there's some pretty exciting astronomical things going on right now. Possible ninth planet. Did you read about that, Darren? Um, possible another dwarf planet. And this ninth planet could be affecting the orbit of our planet. I'll get into this all next week, but it's interesting. Kim, Kim, Kim. It does not. Uh, Never mind. It's got to clear its orbit of detritus for one thing. That's one of the qualifications. I forget the other qualification. See, Darren, if I was a real amateur astronomer, I'd know all that stuff from memory. Actually, you know what? Damn it. We're gonna do this before we go. just to annoy Kim, because that is what we do here, right, Kim? And we sell your books if we can. All right. New planetary definitions. Um, to qualify as a planet today, an object that is not a star must revolve around a star. Well, no kidding. Um, in other words, triple stars. I don't even know why they're including that, obviously. Um, needs to have a spherical shape, and it needs to, quote, clear the neighborhood around its orbit. To do that, an object must have the ability to pull other objects into itself or send them flying around itself and into space. Um, according to NASA, it is this third part of the definition that has sparked the debate. The other thing to remember about Pluto, Kim, in all seriousness, don't you stick out your tongue at me, young lady. The other thing to remember about Pluto is that it's not the only dwarf planet. Um, there are other planets near its size out there, and we would have to add all of those as planets. So the thing that made the most sense was, okay, we'll classify these as planets, and then here's a rule to call it a dwarf planet. In the end, though, no, it's not back to being a planet, Chaz, and it will never be back to being a planet. Um, I would that's not correct, Kim. Sorry. Um, it's got to have enough mass to clear its orbit. Okay. You can look into that, and you can definitely. I'll try to have a better phrase that explanation better next time. Um, and it's not just about the size; it's about the mass in order to clear the orbit. But the bottom line is there are a hell of a lot of things orbiting our sun, and some of them are planets, and some of them are um, dwarf planets, some of them are asteroids, some of them are comets. And to me, it's less about labeling something one way or another, although that is important so you know what you're talking about, but just the fact of how insanely cool it is. You know, when I was a kid, I thought, okay, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, uh, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and they're all in this line on a piece of paper I would draw, you know, and it's not like that at all. And if you really want to read some interesting stuff about our solar system, um, Google the Kuiper belt, Kuiper belt, and it's amazing how far objects can be away from our sun and still be affected by the sun's gravity, still be circling our star. Um, yeah, FYI, Kim, there are moons in our solar system, moons of the bigger planets that are larger than, say, Mercury, for example. So, anyway, I'll do better on the astronomy lecture next time, Darren. And Kim, it's not coming back. It will never come back. I'm sorry, but buy Kim's books, everyone. No, that wasn't much of. Thank you, Kim, but that wasn't much of a fix. I'll do better than that next Thursday. So anyway, guys, thanks for spending part of your Thursday night with me. For those of you who are patrons, I really, really appreciate you because quite literally without you, all of this would end, every bit of it. And if you're not a Patreon, I hope you'll consider it. Um, there are some of us who can't afford $5 a month, and I realize that. I do. But for a lot of us, even those of us who don't have much money, we can afford $5 a month, and you're going to get a lot in return, and you're going to be helping me to keep this train on the tracks. So, anyway, if you're $10 and up Patreon, I will see you tomorrow night, hopefully, on the Patreon Hangout. And to everyone else, we will see you Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, or of course, watch anytime later. So, good night, everyone. And Alan, I'm looking forward to hearing about your UK trip and your European trip in the second part of the podcast on Sunday, if that's okay with you. So, all right. Good night, everyone. See you soon. Thanks for supporting me.